various avenues available for you if you study economics. And lastly, on Indian economic service per se, the examination and the journey thereafter once you clear it. Economics, as we all know, is a science of human behavior. It is related to allocation of resources in a manner which provides maximum satisfaction to people. See the beauty. Economics is a science in the group of arts and an art in the group of sciences, thus training the reader's mind in the best of the arts and sciences to capture the essence of problems faced by society at large. So you can term it as the science of taking the best possible decision. This subject helps you to evaluate any decision by comparing it with its opportunity cost. That is the next best alternative that is foregone. So we can say the multidisciplinary attitude inculcated through the learnings from psychology, politics, sociology, history, statistics, mathematics thereby goes a long way in developing the mental faculties of the students of economics. The multidisciplinary training at graduation and post-graduation level will help you all in having an edge in the most competitive exams with much greater ease than for students from other subjects. So we can say that economics analyzes human behavior, brings in realistic decisions and situation-specific workable reactions when confronted with any issue or problem. Economics also shows how increase in the number of variables, that is, the factors explaining a phenomenon, would explain that phenomenon better, thus showing the need for a much broader outlook in any analysis. It enhances skills, approaches, and way of analyzing, processing, thinking to find out solutions to any problem. However, students should develop the concept with a cautionary note that economics being a behavioral science, there are no definitive solutions in most of the cases. Even basic concepts like indifference curve, marginal utility, etc. are all based on assumptions which have been challenged off and on. So it should not be equated like having an Aladdin's lamp or a magic wand to solve all problems. A lot of hard work goes into arriving at these conclusions. Now we move to the second part of the discussion, the various possibilities and avenues available to students of economics. As being students of economics, its detailed study would help you in attaining high level of analytical, mathematical, and statistical skill set and the ability to apply basic and integrated economic premises, principles, models to problems in business and finance. Knowing the economic context well, you can apply these to understand the logic of complicated data, to visualize the data and realize how things relate to each other and to see the broader context of any issue at hand. Knowledge of economics helps in presenting data in a scientific and effectively designed framework supported by appropriate evidence to effectively use complex data. All these skill sets provide good career prospects both in academics and job-wise. Needless to say, modern geopolitics is dominated by economics. So it will open up lots of vistas of job opportunities, both in corporate and government, both in India and abroad. Another notable advantage, and it encompasses various aspects starting from micro to macro to agriculture economics, labor economics, health economics, environmental economics, business economics. One never gets bored with the subject. Besides, lots of avenues in economic journalism, economic research, numerous avenues in banking sector, actuarial sciences in the insurance sector, stocks and shares, besides big data analysis. Talking of big data analysis further, I would like to mention here that We are in the fourth stage of industrial revolution, or revolution 4.0, which is also known as the intelligence revolution, where emphasis is on collection of all data and our ability to use it to our advantage. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning are integral part of this fourth revolution. Artificial intelligence has a moving target. Its definition changes as its related technological advances turn out to be further developed. Machine learning is a subset and application of artificial intelligence. In 2012, machine learning, deep learning, and neural networks made great strides. In machine learning, we give machine access to data and let them learn for themselves. Artificial intelligence devices are classified into two groups, the applied artificial intelligence and the general artificial intelligence. The general one can handle any task. This generalized branch gave rise to machine learning. Why I'm telling you all this? Because being a student of economics, you'll be able to do because you've already adapt at handling big data, it would help you forge ahead in these fields with much greater ease. Now coming specifically to the Indian Economic Service, the examination, the prospects it offers, and my journey therein. Thoroughly going through the syllabus and making sure of revising. The last year's papers show knowledge of R, strata, though may not be directly asked, but the understanding of the concepts will be tested. Reading a financial newspaper, the so-called pink papers, is a must. English and general studies are also very important. Try to follow the word limit suggested. Practice of diagrams beforehand is a must. Once you clear the exam, you are posted in central ministries. Later on, maybe on deputation to state governments and autonomous bodies. Foreign deputations, secondments are also possible, like in embassies abroad. I got a chance to work with the United Nations in the war-ravaged Afghanistan for a few years too. Even developing schemes like the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Swachh Bharat Mission, Awas Yojana, MG Narega, from their policy making to implementation to evaluation to mid-course correction, all these come in during your work. Opportunities to work in finance, fiscal areas, finance commission, budget, tax policies, fiscal stability, development councils, preparation of economic survey, policy papers, numerous. The list is endless. And there are many tie-ups with foreign universities which will give you lots of international exposure. I'm sure all of you, we would look forward to join the Indian Economic Service. Also, most welcome to it. Otherwise, also wish you all the very best. And with economics as the foundation, there is no end. You will rise and do extremely well in your lives. Good wishes to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nandita ma'am. I would like to welcome Srikhar Nayak, Senior Economic Advisor, retired. Srikhar Nayak, sir. Hello. Hello. Okay, I think there is a connection. I think Srikhar Nayak is not. I would like to welcome Anshuman Kamila, the young and emerging economic officer of India. Anshuman Kamila ji.
Again, namaskar. Am I audible?
Yes, audible.
Thank you so much for inviting me here today, and I'm really glad to be sharing the podium with eminent economists such as Nandita ma'am. Ma'am has already dealt at large with the finer nuances of the discipline that we share, and also the various opportunities and possibilities that exist if one pursues this extremely exciting field. So I think my task is made much easier in terms of what I'm supposed to speak and what extra that but it also makes it difficult for me to deliver what extra I can say about this field. So Lakshminarayanji wanted me to speak some few words about how my journey has been. So, so I think I would like to focus on that. Is it okay if I use Odia also?
Yes, yeah, because lot of student across the different state is joining, so it will be both Hindi and English. Because Gujarat student with us, a few Gujarat student, and from Pondicherry and from Rajasthan also with us. So go ahead with either in English or in Hindi.
Okay, okay, thank you so much. So at the outset, I'd like to just make the point that all my views expressed are purely my own, and it does not represent the views of any institution that I'm affiliated to, and they should not be construed as such. So with that clarification, let me just speak about some the journey that I've made. So I was schooled in Bhubaneswar in DFE Public School, Chandrasekharpur. And then for my graduation, I moved to St. Stephen's College, Delhi University for bachelor's in arts. Subsequently, I did my master's from Delhi School of Economics in economics. And then after a brief 1 year respite, I took up MPhil at Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi. It is during my MPhil that I was also preparing for the Indian Economic Service as well as Reserve Bank of India Grade B DEPR exam. Incidentally, I cleared the DEPR exam right during my MPhil preparation, and I was working with the RBI for a year, and it is during my training with the RBI that my results for the Indian Economic Service were announced, and I moved to Indian Economic Service. So this is briefly my journey. I should now like to speak about the 3 attempts I wrote for the Indian Economic Service. Often what happens is that when a person becomes successful, although I don't deem my success a very great one, but when success happens, people tend to overemphasize on the success and sometimes tend to neglect or ignore that there's a lot of failure, or there's a lot of disappointment that goes on before the success actually comes your way. So I'd like to dwell upon the first 2 attempts that I wrote more. So first attempt was when I did not have any dedicated practice apart from my MS studies. Nanita ma'am rightly pointed out that you need to do a lot of studying on your own, particularly financial newspapers and practicing diagrams, learning figures. So these are things I did not do, and predictably so I couldn't clear. I was a bit shaken, but I understood that this exam needed a lot more than just revising one's notes from MA or PA days. So first year was that way, and the second year I had good practice of questions, particularly past year questions, and also read a lot of newspapers and got a grip on the kind of figures and facts that one needs to substantiate one's point in answers. But I could not get enough marks, so particularly the paper on Indian economy in general, that did not go well, so I could not do as well. So I couldn't clear, although I had very good marks in my interview. But in the third attempt, everything seemed to fall in place, so I could muster enough marks both in the written as well as the interview, and thankfully I was able to clear. And it was of course God's grace entirely that I got rank 1. So rank 1 does not depend at all on your own practice. Of course, a lot of it depends on clearing the exam, but rank 1 is just a matter of few marks. So that should always be kept in mind. So in the end, I should just like to summarize by summarize my preparation strategy by saying that First of all, about how to prepare, you will get enough material on YouTube. There are 2 videos of my own on YouTube, which I might like to put on the on the meeting chat right after this, after I've stopped speaking. So those are there. I think so that will broadly give you the list of resources that is required for writing this exam. Also, there are similar videos available from my other colleagues, other batchmates, and also people who have cleared the exam in previous years on the on the similar line. So you can always refer to them. Second thing is that writing practice is very essential, I think, because irrespective of how much you know, there's always a time constraint, and you need to be very sure about how much you need to write and how well you can portray them. And in writing practice, one needs to, of course, pay a great deal of attention to putting figures and diagrams, of blending them very well in the written word, because there's nothing that conveys a message as crisply that a diagram can, a well drawn diagram can. So that is important. Thirdly, time management, which flows directly from writing practice, because irrespective of how well you write 1 or 2 answers, it's very important for you to complete as many answers as possible, and if preferably all the answers if possible. So time management is of the essence. So that's why completing the questions is important. Fourth, you need to pay attention to using Indian examples or Indian data to substantiate the point you are making. So suppose there's a question on Indian agriculture and you're talking about landholding. So then you need to actually quote figures as to how landholding per capita basis has fallen over time, let's say from 2.3 in 1971 to 1.16 in 2011. These are just figures that I have recently read, but these are kind of figures that you need to commit to memory if you intend to make a good impression on whoever is evaluating the paper. And I think it makes sense, because even if you were to evaluate a paper, you would like to give more marks to a person who has quoted these figures rather than someone who's just talking off the top of their head without use of any figures as such. So also, when you're writing answers, it's always good to take figures from reputable publications. Don't say that I have read this figure in, let's say, a pamphlet that I read while coming to the exam. So always try to refer to figures from, let's say, the National Commission for Farmers or a UNDP publication or something of that sort. So that is very important. So the second last thing I want to dwell upon is a general advice. So I think it's always important that it's always important for you to have a plan B. So Nandita ma'am was referring to economics as being the art of the second best alternative. Often in life one does not get the second. Often in life one does not get the best. So one needs to have a second best so that one can at least be happy. And also getting the second best gives you some sort of confidence that if I've reached this far, I did not come this far to only come this far. So it's always important to have a plan B. So I would like to say that Reserve Bank of India Grade B DEPR was my plan B. So because I could not clear the Indian Economic Service, so I got through RBI Grade B, and of course it helped me a great deal in my third and last attempt, because it conveyed a very good impression about my existing skill sets and the possible value addition that I can do to my job as an Indian Economic Service officer. So having a plan B always helps. So please have a plan B. Secondly, I want to say that it's always important to practice smart work. So I have seen a lot of people who, including myself, who do a lot of hard work but do not do as well. But there are people who know how to plan their work, how to read only those things which are very important, and getting through hurdles in life very well. So always it's important to do smart work. So this of course comes with practice, and you need to adopt this strategy as efficiently as possible. I think it's important to do smart work, because if you have spent all your energy doing only economics or doing only clearing the exam, you have nothing left to enjoy your life as such. So for enjoying your life, you need to do a bit of smart work. I'm still working on it, so I can't give you any rough and ready advice to do this, but you need to somehow come around to the idea of doing smart work. And the last thing is to say that you need to pursue an extracurricular activity. When you clear the service, any service for that matter, or when you get into any career, there's always going to be some extra edge that you need to have over and above all your peers, which will give you happiness, or which will give you recognition. So I have just returned from the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, where we were sent for the foundation course, and Indian Economic Service was being represented there after 27 long years. So it was, of course, a very fortunate thing for us to be attending the foundation course there. And I realized that after having cleared the civil services or the Indian Economic Service exams, which are one of the toughest in terms of rigor and what it takes to clear these exams, there are so many people displaying so varied levels and varieties of extracurricular activity: photography, dance, song, drawing, and so many other things. I mean, there are some things which I didn't hear of, which I didn't think or imagine that these things would exist. But they have known this art, they have perfected this art, and that's what makes the entire ecosystem rich and more vibrant. So always try to pick up something that's around you or which you think that gives you pleasure, and try to pursue it to a certain degree of fineness and perfection. So always have an extracurricular activity. Lastly, I would just like to say that for people from Odisha in particular, there's been a lot of syllabus revision in terms of economics teaching in Odisha, and with that, really, it has been pegged a level that is that helps you to write the Indian Economic Service exam. So if you follow that very religiously and rigorously, you will be very well placed with regard to clearing the exam. So with these concluding remarks, I finish my intervention. Thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you for your patience in listening to me.
Thank you, Anshumanji.